So today we're going to talk about postural muscle. Postural muscle is your gravity muscle. One of the reasons why when the astronauts come back down, they have no ability to stand back up because there's no gravity. So moving around during your day is going to be very much postural exercise. Now your deep line core muscle is also postural. So the postural muscles of the deep line core are also engaging as you move, which is one of the reasons why I encourage that body pump rather than these big holds trying to work the core. So when we talk about postural muscles, we want to think about the calf, the hamstring, the quadricep. We want to think about the deep, short inner thigh muscles, the quadratus lumborum of the lower back. We want to think about the spinal erectors of the lower back and the neck. We're thinking about the upper pec, the deltoid, and then the upper traps. There's others in there, but they're not really exercise conducive, so we're going to just start with those. And I have a bar, and you're more than welcome to do this without the bar, but the bar is really nice to be able to start to gauge your posture. So to do the hamstring curl, there's going to be a little bit of a movement side to side, but we're going to curl the leg up and we're going to move the leg down. And do this to about a 4 count so that you have a nice slow rhythm. We want to really work on making these exercises symmetrical and keep that body nice and balanced. So the minute that we start to speed up, when we don't have balance, we're going to start moving into the wrong muscle groups. So we want to keep it nice and slow and really work on the strength of the muscles that we're standing on as much as the muscles that we're working on. So if I'm concentrating right now on my hamstring curling to the left, my hamstring on the right is also loaded. It's just loaded with my body weight. And the hamstring on the left is more getting the gravity effect of that lower leg lifting in the air. And then the same thing for quadricep, flexing and extending and bringing it back. And being really specific as you lift and extend and bringing it back in. And lift and extend. Good, focusing on the front of the quadricep. Now when you fire that quadricep and really squeeze it, it's going to allow that hamstring to lengthen. So it gives a nice reciprocal stretch to that opposite muscle. So it's a great way for you to lengthen and strengthen all at once. And calisthenics are always great for that. All right, and we'll do one more. 4 to start is great. You can work your way up from there. This is just a priming on your postural muscle. And then I'll do inner thigh, the deep pelvic girdle area, into calf by moving into an inner thigh squat, squeezing in, and then standing up just a little bit onto that calf. Now watch, again, we were talking about this with that deep line core primer. Watch that you don't go out onto that pinky toe. Really get that body weight up to the toe, big toe, second toe, third toe maximum. And if you can't stand up that high on your toes, just shift a little into it. Remember, this is your workout. Start and stop where you feel comfortable. Good. And then we're going to press. Good. All right. So to move into back extension and back quadratus lumborum, it's going to be simple. Hands will be on your thighs. We're going to move into a deadlift position and then stand back up. Notice that my knees over my ankles don't move. My knees to my ankles don't move. My rear end is moving out from behind me, and my upper body is following in a nice straight position. And this is working through the lower spinal erectors posturally and quadratus lumborum as well. And we don't want to add, you gotta be careful that you don't round into the back, careful that you don't move into the knees. We're moving through the hip, and I always tell people, keep that head and chest up. Good, and then quadratus lumborum can be that side movement again. And you can bring your legs out a little further if it's comfortable. Find a good position on your leg that you move to. And try to keep it even from both sides. And if it means that you get a pair of pants that have something on each side that you can use as a marker, that's great. And then, you know, all these things that you probably remember from years ago are all coming back. Okay? And then that would be that midsection, and going up into the upper section. We're going to go bicep, and then I'm going to have you move down and then turn it up and go into anterior deltoid. Now I'm just going to have you do a break with that, because sometimes moving into that anterior deltoid makes people have a bit of a time with their neck. So I want you to bicep curl, turn the thumbs in and lift. Good. Now, if you feel this in your neck, do less of it. Bicep curl, and you can go half the height. Or you could do one arm at a time as well. If you wanted to do one arm, and then the opposite, and then bicep curl, and the opposite. And then upper pack, I'm going to have you move your arms here, and we're going to pull the forearms together and then back. This is really easy. Upper pack. Normally I would do these lying down, but I want you to get into a nice upper position. I'll show some of these seated as well. Good. And then squeezing. Good. And then the last one will be a thumbs out, shoulder shrug, and release. Shoulder shrug. Good. Just lifting the shoulders towards the ears, and then really bringing those arms down. Keep those thumbs out so that we have those arms in a nice position. Watch that shrug here. Into a leg extension. So we're going to extend for 4 with a flexed foot, and then bring it down for 4 with a flexed foot. And again, second side, and bring it down. Good. I'm going to keep the foot flexed with this, just to highlight opening up that hamstring into that back of the leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. Nice and upright. Try to keep that pace going. It'll be easier for you to do these with your own music and counting it out. The reason why they're at a 4 count is because I want you to go slow and really focus on firing those quadriceps on the front of your legs. Squeeze the quadricep as you lift. You'll feel the hamstring opening. Some things you might get challenged with is that you don't, your body only allows you to go a little bit between the range of motion because the knee is so tight at the hamstring attachment sites, and that's okay. That'll build over time. Zip. All right, the next exercise is for bicep, deltoid, and chest. So you'll lean back in your chair. You're gonna curl with the thumbs out. We're gonna move and rotate and push into that chest so that we're in a nice position. We're working upper pec, anterior deltoid, and then we're gonna come back down and open up bicep. Good. So that's a chain exercise. Curl and push. And again, these are all without weights. So these are just moving into the postural muscles. Do your best to keep it nice and slow into a 4 count. The chain movements are obviously going to be a little easier to do that because they're nice and big. They create a lot of different muscles moving into that exercise. Good. Keeping those thumbs just above the bridge of your nose to get into that shoulder and the upper pec as well. We'll do one more curl and press. Good, shoulder blades are always behind you. And then we're gonna sit up and we're gonna finish with upper traps. So thumbs are gonna come out and back. Shoulder blades are gently behind you and we're gonna shrug and then release. And the release is gonna also help you get that scalene area, which is also postural, to lengthen. And then bring it down. Good. And again, and lift. And release. Good. And one more. And lift. And release. All right, so today we're going to look at postural muscle. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a educational description of postural muscle first. So, postural muscle is responsible for anti-gravity or tonic muscles. And they have a little bit more resting tone to them than phasic muscles, which we'll go through on the next video. When postural muscles get short, they get tight. And they are genetically older and less reactive to injury. They atrophy less quickly than their phasic muscle groups. So I'm going to go through the postural muscles that we're going to be trying to fire today to understand. And just like the series of movements that I just did, we're going to try to understand if they're firing equally. So our postural or tonic muscles are going to be a little bit more prone to hyperactivity. They are susceptible to fatigue a little less than phasic, like we were just saying, and they're going to shorten during faulty loading. And they're also, when they get weak, they're going to get tight. Did you hear what I just said? When they get weak, they're going to get tight. First one, pec minor, right here where my little red laser is. When this gets weak, it gets tight. All right? If this gets tight and short, it's going to draw this humerus in. All right? So that's our first tonic muscle. Levator scapula, coming over here to the left. You see this muscle? That's levator scapula. Now we may not do all of these in our exercise because they're going to be a little harder to find. So these movements are, I'm going to explain how movements are going to work. Upper trapezius, look right here. There's the fiber. See how that fiber goes up to the back of the skull? That's postural, that's tonic. Just where I'm pointing. Biceps brachii, moving down here. Biceps brachii. Good. Now, the one thing that I am going to say at the very end, I'll wait because I'm going to, this is Vladimir Janda's work that I'm going through. Scalenes, look right here. Scalenes. Very important group. Subscapularis. Can't see it. It's inside the shoulder blade. There it is there. It's hard to see it. It's inside the shoulder. All right. Then sternocleidomastoid right here. There's one piece. There's one piece here. Muscles. Your masticatory muscles. Mastication. Here's your masseter muscle. All right, your forearm flexors right in here. These are postural. They're going to pull the hands in. All right, so let's go lower body, lumbar and cervical erectors. So here and here on the erector group, quadratus lumborum, which is in here. See that muscle there? And then hamstrings. Here's your hamstrings. Iliopsoas, which is inside. I'm not sure we're going to be able to see that. It's in the interior part. I have that on the picture that for deep line. Rectus femoris right here. This is rectus femoris. Your adductor group, but not all of them. Here's your adductor group in here. And then piriformis. Right in here, piriformis, and then tensor fascia lati, right here, tensor fascia lati. All right, and then gastrocs, and soleus, down here. All right. All right, so now, the newer research has shown that the long head of the biceps is going to be more postural. I agree with that. The anterior deltoid in here is going to be more postural. I agree with that. Pec major, the upper fibers in here. I agree with that. Tibialis posterior. And they have a picture of tibialis. There it is, right here. It's right deep. I'll agree with that. Now, there are more muscles that they consider, some of them postural, that are not on Vladimir Jonda's, that I don't agree with. But those I will agree with. That's my opinion. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a workout to work some of these postural muscles and to understand how those postural muscles need to be worked symmetrically and firing symmetrically. Because if we are in a standing position and we have loaded phasic muscles and they've become postural, we're going to have a difficult time getting a straight workout. So this is the next part to your post primer. The primer is to get your body to understand your lines of movement. Now we're going to start to understand how to balance and create those fluidity and symmetry patterns before we start getting too involved in a workout.